Menji Podrana, Toksen Sanji Kanji Koye, Rasame Shurga Muslimas Tunza Parsawe Lama Namla Sorwade, Kirba Sanji Chuva Shigdanye, Nyamba Drupa Shumla Tanta, Sanjini Manere Dambe Janso Loto Jamso Shabla Sorwade. Lame Joseme Jamzo Toje Dam Shirke Kuru Pama Shumlaji Shenru Tsinga Kelwe Nyuku Ye Tanda Trupa Tanjina Trupara Ho Ranji Lame Trambe Kajela Kosume Jaro Shidro Lazo Rale Shana Nepere Tujo Tuyo Irmi Jivara Shinji Lo. Homage to Sakyamuni Buddha, homage to His Holiness Lama Achuk Rinpoche, and homage to Gyalwai Nyugu Rinpoche. Everybody give rise to bodhicitta to benefit countless suffering sentient beings. May all beings have happiness and all the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and all the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the great happiness, devoid of suffering, and forever dwell in the great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. To sacred bodhicitta, the precious and excellent mind. Where it is not, may it arise. Where it is, may it never decline. Consistently growing, rising higher and higher. And we carry on these most incredible teachings of Atisha, the Bodhisattva's garland of jewels. And last week we spoke about awareness and how important mindfulness and awareness is, and to check 6 times a day. Not really 6 times a day, every moment, as important as it is to breathe, as important it should be that what we do is that we have our mindfulness and our awareness. And we spoke about fame and fortune, and this is what many people are pursuing: fame and fortune and status and reputation. And they think this is what's going to bring them happiness. But they often don't realize that this is often quite illusory. It isn't permanent, it's temporary. It might come, and they put a lot of effort, they put a lot of work into trying to earn it, and it might be taken away, or it might disappear very quickly, or we might die very quickly. So this is the importance of Buddhism. In Buddhism, what are we looking at? We're looking at the truth. And what truths are we looking at? We're looking at the truth that everything is impermanent, that everything changes, that one day we're going to die, that there is cause and effect, the infallibility of cause and effect. And love and kindness, how important love and kindness is. And then as the practices progress, also looking at this illusory nature of this world, the dreamlike nature of this world. But for many people, we don't see it as dreamlike. We think it is so real and so solid, and so it causes us all sorts of suffering. But if we really said today was the last day I was going to live, or this week was the last week I was going to live, would we still go and work so hard, pursue these the fame and the fortune and the status with such vigor and such enthusiasm? Or would there be more important things to do? And if there were more important things to do, what would they be? What would you do? And we also look at these emotions. Are they real, or are they illusory? Are they going to affect us as well? Do they have to affect us? Or if we look at their essence, can we liberate them so that they don't affect us? Many of us, we say, we're going to work. We're working very hard. And this is the case. Many people are working very hard for their family, for their children. What do the children need most? Do they need you to be working hard for them? or do they need you to be there for them? Which is going to help them better? Which is going to help them more? Which is going to help them progress more? Often, and I remember when we were at school, we were taught many material things, but we weren't taught much about how to deal with our emotions, how to deal with our afflictions, the importance of love and kindness and compassion and having a good foundation in it. And this is so important. To really care for our children, I think also we must teach them the importance of love and kindness. The importance of this world, or the future of this world sometimes also depends on love and kindness and compassion. Depends on us letting go of all of this greed, all of this attachment, all of this jealousy. Especially the greed and the attachment, all this consumerism. We value so much with respect to it being on consumption and accumulating more, consuming more. And how does this affect our planet? And we also, what we believe. So when I say we don't believe what's true, just said the loving kindness, impermanence, the infallibility of cause and effect. But what do we believe in so often? We believe in the adverts, in what the media says. The adverts say, oh, you have to have this house to be happy. You have this car to show status. You must look like this, and you must dress like this, and you must wear these shoes. And what do? They portray models, these ideal people, and makes us feel uncomfortable. Makes people feel that, oh, we have to be like that, we have to buy this. While the teachers are telling us about the importance of love and kindness and compassion and of impermanence. Why? Because they want to tell us the truth, because they want us to be happy. This is their purpose. They want us to be free of suffering. What are the adverts? What is their purpose? These adverts that we invest in, that we believe, their purpose is to get us to buy, to consume, so that they can make a profit. Included in love and kindness is bodhicitta, or bodhicitta includes love and kindness. And this is what we're going to speak about today. There were 4 lines, but I think we'll only get through 2 lines. They're predominantly dealing with bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is so, so important. If you're practicing Mahayana, if you're practicing great perfection, if you're practicing Mahamudra, the secret Vajrayana, all of them, they entail bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the eyes, is the backbone, is the shoulders of the practice. And so often we convince ourselves that we are practicing the great perfection, or we are practicing bodhicitta. But in reality, this is often not the case. Sometimes what we're really practicing is our own selfish wishes. We say we're practicing for the benefit of all sentient beings. But in reality, when you listen to the way we talk and what we're doing, what we really are doing is for ourselves. And there's many different aspirations that we may have. Sometimes we're practicing because we want to have a better life later, or we want to have a better next life, or possibly that we want to attain liberation but for ourselves. But if you're practicing bodhicitta, you're really wishing for the benefit of all sentient beings. So you really want to help and benefit others. So you first transform yourself. By transforming ourselves, we're better equipped to then go and be able to help others. So it's very important. Really check, what is your aspiration? Are you really doing it for the benefit of others? And if not, then really try and do it for the benefit of others. And we see the importance of this as well. In that Atisha, what did he do? He went to the island, the Golden Island in Sumatra, to find Guru Selingpa. And what was he practicing there? Practicing bodhicitta for 12 years. You see the importance of it as well when we're starting these verses. What does he say? First homage. The first homage is to love and kindness and compassion. So it's also homage to bodhicitta. The 37 practices of a bodhisattva. These are most incredible and most important teachings. And this separates the difference between the Hinayana and the Vajrayana and the Mahayana. Within it, we include the 4 boundless qualities. The 4 boundless qualities are compassion, love and kindness, joy, equanimity. And it also includes the bodhicitta in action, which is the 6 paramitas, which is generosity, forbearance, discipline, diligence, concentration, and wisdom. And really, the cause of all our suffering is ignorance. What is the big ignorance? This I, the big I in ignorance. Because of ignorance, because of I, we attach, we get jealous, we get angry, we get arrogant. And it causes us suffering. It's because we don't realize the true nature of this I. And one of the best antidotes for this is bodhicitta. And why is bodhicitta such a great antidote? Is because when we are really thinking and wishing for the benefit of others, however we can, that we can benefit others, we're not thinking of ourselves. And when we are thinking, we only think one thought at a time. We might think many thoughts very quickly, but one at a time. And so, while you have the thought, the wish for the happiness of others, that thought of yourself doesn't exist. It's not there. So they can't exist at the same time. They can't be there at the same time. Just like fire and ice. Or fire and water. Just like fire and water. They won't be there at the same time. So it's an incredibly powerful antidote to this I, the self-grasping. So it's an antidote to our suffering as well. And as Shantideva said, the great Shantideva, all the causes of happiness are wishing for the benefit of others. All the causes of suffering are wishing for the benefit of oneself. And really, love and kindness, compassion is really a long-term solution. Sometimes we think if I get angry, it's protecting me, it's helping me. But in reality, anger doesn't help. Love and kindness, and then approaching, maybe it takes longer, but it'll have a long-term result. If you treat people and you resolve it with anger, often what happens is, one, you create the habit of anger, and the second is that other people are unhappy, and later on they either want revenge, or they have spite, or they'll be unhappy, and they might want to come one day that there's a payback day. But if you treat people with love and kindness and warmth, generally people are happy. And generally you can have a longer term solution. In the 4 boundless qualities, we discussed them a little bit. And the first we'll talk about is compassion. What is compassion? Is wishing for others to be free from their suffering. And this is not a pity. It's not a, oh shame. It's not pitiful. It's actually still with love, but really wishing them to be free of suffering. And also to be free of the causes of suffering. So we always start, when we start we say, may all beings have happiness and all the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and all the causes of suffering. So naturally we can understand, we all want to be free of suffering. Who wants to suffer? But we also say to be free of the causes of suffering. Because if we don't take the causes of suffering away, then later on, if we plant those seeds of suffering, we're going to experience it anyway. So if we don't want to suffer, we must take away the causes. So we must take away the suffering, and we must take away the causes of the suffering. So this would be like a mother who sees her child falling into the river, and she runs after the child and runs after the child for as long as possible, wishing and hoping so that eventually she can pull her child out of the river. We should have the same wish to free all of these beings of the suffering, of their suffering, and help them be free of their suffering. And suffering are all of these things that make us feel uncomfortable or experience pain. So there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of suffering in this world. Sometimes we don't see it, but we know it's there. We've all experienced suffering. We've all experienced physical suffering. Maybe we've been sick. Maybe we've had an accident. Something's broken. And we've all experienced emotional suffering. And who really wants to experience it? Who would rather have suffering than happiness? So there's great suffering among humans. Sometimes we don't see it, we don't think about it, but you see people walking around. You know, people when they're young, they're so happy, they have so much hope, so much joy, and then as they get older, I don't know where it all goes. It goes into all of these demands. Suddenly you have to have this to be happy. You have to have that to be happy. When you're small, you really didn't need much to be happy. Maybe every now and then you threw a little tantrum because you wanted a toy or you wanted this. But generally you played and you were happy and content. But then we got older. Have to have the car, have to have the house, have to have the relationship. Have to have this, have to be able to go there, go on this holiday to be happy. Why all of a sudden do we have to have all of these extra things to be happy? And because people don't have them, they're worrying about not having them if they've got them. If they've got them, then they're worrying about losing them. All sorts of anxieties and worries, and you see adults walking around. There's so many reasons to be happy, so many reasons to be grateful, but they're full of discontent, unhappiness, anxiety, depressed. So actually, within humans, it might look like everything's nice and rosy, but actually people have got a lot of mental suffering. And then there's all those humans that are suffering from physical suffering, sick, ailments, cancer, starving, in war zones, anxious, worrying about when they're going to live again. I mean, how long are they going to live for? What's going to happen? All their treasured things might get taken away, get blasted away in a few moments. Think of the people in Syria. They had wonderful plans. What's happened to their plans now? We'll talk about impermanence again another day. And animals. There's also the suffering of the other realms. In the hell realms, they have great suffering. The pretas have great suffering. The gods have their suffering. The suras have their suffering. The animals. The animals, we think, oh, animals' life is nice. Some people wish that they could be an animal the next life. When you're an animal for that whole life. You don't have the wisdom and the great, or as much wisdom as humans do. And what we see is the cat or the dog that has a nice home. We don't see the suffering of the other animals. Think in the wild. The animals are concerned, worried, nervous. They hear a sound, they jump, they're skittish. They might get eaten by other animals. And the same for insects. Same for birds. So it's not so easy as we think. And then, because of humans, there's so much suffering because of the eating of meat. This world has so much suffering. What do? We cut down all our rainforests so that we can grow soya beans. Why are we growing soya beans? So we can feed animals. Why are we feeding animals? So that we can kill them. Why do we want to kill them? Because we want to eat. Many people say it's for health reasons, but for most people the reality is it's to satisfy their desires, to satisfy their taste buds. This is the truth. So all of that harm done to our environment, which we're so concerned about, to cause suffering, to kill animals. Imagine what it's like for those animals. Lined up. And also, I just read something, they said something about the war in Syria. I don't know, it costs so many trillions of dollars. And if we just use that money instead of harming others with war, we could have used all that money all that money could have saved our rainforests anyway. We could have used that money to feed people. Anyway, so these animals, imagine, one is that where you live, your only purpose, that people are looking at you as a commodity. Oh, you're looking good. One day we're going to eat you. One day we're going to kill you and make a big profit out of you. And then when you're lining up, people say, oh, they do it very quickly and it doesn't hurt the animals. Can you imagine lining up to be slaughtered? It's happened. It's happened to people as well. You think they don't know. You think they don't sense it. And then they put into these machines. And these machines just carve them up while their body's still warm. Can you imagine the suffering? Incredible suffering. Imagine being a fish. Just pulled out, you get these people, they keep them in the buckets or in the pools. Or if you're catching fish, you pull that fish out, what do you get? Somebody smashes your head so that you don't bite, or just knocks your head against a brick, and then while you're coming around, they're pulling your intestines out. They've cut you open and they're busy ripping out your intestines. Imagine that happened to you. You wake up, you come around, and your stomach, all your insides have been ripped out. Incredible suffering. Incredible. And the chickens, they're kept in these little cages. So for all of this produce, how much suffering? The killing and the process. How much suffering are we creating? So in this world, there's incredible suffering. So we wish for all beings to be free of suffering and free of all the causes of suffering. Then love and joy I'm going to do together. Love, that all beings may have happiness and all the causes of happiness. Again, the causes. So we want to be happy. We wish everybody to be happy. And we wish them to have all the causes to be happy. So we teach people the causes for making people happy. Then they invest in the causes. If you plant those seeds for happiness, then eventually those seeds ripen and you can have happiness. And for joy, the joy in seeing people being happy. So you really wish for people to be happy and have all the causes of happiness. You wish them to have as beautiful as they want to be or as handsome they want to be. They may be that handsome or that beautiful. That they may have whatever education they wish for. That they may have whatever foods they may enjoy. Of course, without harming others. That they may go on holiday where they want that. They may have the abundance they want. And really rejoice in people having that. Really rejoice. And so then, when people are happy, then they have a sense of liberation. For a while they're satisfied. So if they have temporary liberation. And to rejoice in what other people have. We don't always have to have it to be happy. Have you ever been happy when you see other people happy? Have you ever been happy when you see other people getting what they want? All of us have. So why not make it a practice? Instead of being jealous about what other people have, really make it a practice to be happy for what other people have. If they get a nice car, be happy for them. If they're in the great relationship, even if it's the person that you wanted to be in the relationship with, rejoice for them, be happy for them. Get the job that you wanted, be happy for them. Beautiful house. You know, you walk in sometimes, that jealousy. You walk into a house and it's so nice and it is really beautiful and it's a house you would love to have. What happens? You want to say nice things, but that jealousy, it just grabs and squeezes your heart, squeezes your mind. Your eyes change. You can't say something nice. Maybe you say something stupid. Maybe you say something hurtful. It just restricts us. Or the job. Sometimes it even restricts people to the extent that they go and kill other people because they're jealous of what they've got. So rejoicing is an antidote for this jealousy. And this jealousy really, it strikes where you least expect it. For instance, I remember once I was at the monastery and we were sitting with Rinpoche and there were some really great practitioners. And I noticed that one of those great practitioners was a little bit jealous about something. I thought, wow, that's really interesting. I never expected. And just as I was thinking this, what does Rinpoche do? He takes something that I really like and he gives it to somebody else. And automatically, just there and then, my jealousy jumped up for a few moments. And I thought, wow, how interesting. Here I'm thinking about somebody else, and Rinpoche, I'm sure, he sees and he says, let's see what you like. And my jealousy popped up. So if it does pop up, just in that moment, don't say anything. Just stay calm and just let it gradually subside. Once it's subsided, then you can say the nice things to the people and really rejoice and be happy for them. But it really comes up where you least expect it. We feel happy when we get something. Why can't we be happy for others when they get it? It's really silly, isn't it? That we can't be happy for others. Really silly. But anyway, we have to sort out this emotion. Otherwise, it's going to cause us and other people a lot of suffering. How do we sort it out? One of the ways is rejoicing. And if we're rejoicing, we're not just happy with when we've got something, as we said earlier. You can be happy when you see other people with what they've got. So you can be rejoicing. There's so many things to rejoice about. Rejoice for so many people, other people's happiness. And if you're always rejoicing, when are you unhappy? Be happy for everybody else and what they have. There's so many sources of being happy. And you rejoice in what other people have, there's a possibility you'll also become part of what they have. So love and all the causes of happiness and rejoice. And the last of the boundless qualities is equanimity. So to wish this not just for our friends, those close to us, but for everybody, even our enemies, even the people we loathe. To do this, these 4 boundless qualities, start slowly, practicing, wishing for the happiness of others, wishing for them to be free of suffering, those close to you, your loved ones, your family. And then slowly broaden that circle to friends, to your social circle, to work, to your city, to your country, to your enemies, the people you don't like. And then eventually to all sentient beings. And really, really wish and make aspirations for people to really be free of suffering and all its causes, to really have happiness and all its causes, and for every single being, and rejoice. And the 6 parameters we'll talk about another day. I think in the riches of the Aryas, it's mentioned a little bit later. And really think for the sentient beings. We often, as long as I'm comfortable, it's okay. And when I'm comfortable, it's okay, then I can be happy for others. But you look at some of these teachers, and you've heard of these teachers in the past, they really think of the suffering of sentient beings. And sometimes they just sit there, and they're just in tears, not for themselves, but when they think of the suffering, they think of the plight of sentient beings. Have we ever sat there crying and crying, shedding tears because we're thinking about the suffering of others? When I think of this, I even think of Jesus. I think, how incredible was he? What was he doing as well? He died for the sins of others. He was thinking of the suffering of others. So I think of him as a great bodhisattva. What was he like? What was Buddha like? Not what we think they were like. What were they like? They really cared, and I really believe that they really wished for all sentient beings, not just humans, but for all sentient beings to be free from all their suffering and to have happiness. And Atisha often used to ask people, he didn't say hello, he used to say, did you have a kind heart today? And this also, last week we spoke about mindfulness and awareness, and this is also where we see how important mindfulness and awareness is. Because it's important to know what's going on in our mind. If we know what's going on in our mind, we can transform it. If our mind is full of negativity, full of thoughts, selfish thoughts, where's the space to be thinking of others? Where's the time to be thinking of others? So it's very important to be aware of what's in our mind. And if we know what's in our mind, let those selfish thoughts go. And more practice. Again and again, practice. Wishing for the benefit of others. In the beginning, it's going to be very difficult. Will we even be able to help how many beings? Never mind one. That's why it's important to make the aspiration. We make the wishes. Again and again make the wishes. And we think, what's the point of just making wishes? Where's the value in that? There's a lot of value in that. When you're always wishing, when you're wishing again and again and again for the happiness of others, more and more these wishes, you're spending more time, more and more these thoughts become part of your mind stream. Just like a song, the more and more you sing it, the more and more it just comes up naturally into your mind again. So more and more you're wishing and really wishing for it, the more and more becomes part of your mind, as we say, your mind stream. And then it becomes part of your mind stream. It can more and more become what you say and then what you do. As Buddha said, abandon negativity, practice positivity. Transform your own mind. This is the teaching of Buddha. Practice positivity, practice love and kindness, practice the 4 boundless qualities. The 10 things to do and the 10 things not to do. And I think that's going to come after bodhicitta, cause and effect. And we have the difference of the 2 types of bodhicitta. We have relative bodhicitta and we have absolute bodhicitta or ultimate bodhicitta. Now, relative bodhicitta is this world of appearance, the life that we're living now. And in this, it's very important to plant the causes of happiness and not, or to abandon the causes of suffering. And then there's also ultimate bodhicitta. Now, ultimate bodhicitta is when you realize emptiness. When you realize the emptiness of I. The illusory nature of all things. But this we can talk about another day. And we think of the value, we said earlier, love and kindness is a better solution. If we have love and kindness, if we care about others, then generally people like being around us. They feel comfortable around us. Even if we don't want people around us, people will find people around us. They might seek your company. On the other hand, if you treat people with anger, blame, bring them down, condescending towards them, criticize them all the time, they don't want to be around. We all go into an environment, if there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of anger, dislike, blame, you don't feel comfortable. But if you go to a place where there's full of laughter and caring and warmth, it's nice to be there. And what is true for everybody? All of us want to be happy. Not one of us wants to suffer. So often we're looking at what's different. What's different? Sometimes it's good to look at what's the same. What's the same? We all want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. What's the same? If you look at the main religions, Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism, the others that I haven't mentioned, what do they teach? They teach love and kindness. The importance of love and kindness. Compassion. And even those people that don't have a religion also have benefited from love and kindness and compassion. And appreciate it when they're treated in this way. So it's universal for all of us. So very important, treat others with love and kindness and compassion. If we have this as the foundation, then if we have differences, it doesn't matter so much. You like this meal, you like spicy, I like sweet and sour, or I like plain. It's okay. We go eat together. You enjoy your spicy, I like my sweet and sour. And we can still be together. Spend that time together. We can laugh about our differences. You from this religion, I'm from that religion. Wonderful. We can embrace each other with love. You've got your difference, I've got my difference, but we treat each other with warmth and kindness. We even help each other. You've got this football team. I don't like football. I like that. Wonderful. You do what you like. The foundation is love and kindness and understanding. With that comes understanding and acceptance. And if we have that, then it doesn't matter what color your hair is, what color your eyes are. It's pink, blue, yellow, brown, blonde, dark, light. It's all okay. It's like having a beautiful garden with all sorts of different colors in it. All different flowers, all growing together happily. But if you take away the love and kindness and you put in discrimination, then the differences sometimes create problems. They create anger, they create judgment, they create fascism. So very important, love and kindness. So, so important. Really, really respect other people's religions. You practice what you want to practice. This is the medicine you like. This is the medicine that you think is the best for you. And they've got a different medicine. And they feel that their medicine is best. That's great. This is my medicine, and I'm happy for you to take your medicine. Different doctors. Some people like Eastern medicine, some people like Western medicine. Some people like that doctor, some people have a connection with this doctor. Some people prefer this medicine, some people prefer that medicine. As long as the medicine is taking us to the place of love and kindness and to the truth. And we can rejoice. I'm so happy you found the doctor you like. I found the doctor I like. And this is also interesting as well, the difference sometimes between Western and Eastern medicine. Western medicine often treats the result, the effect, the symptoms very, very well, very, very well. But it doesn't often treat the cause. So it's very important to also treat the cause. Sometimes the Eastern medicine also, and I'm sure in some Western medicine as well, correct me if I'm wrong, they also treat the cause. So it's important to treat the cause. If you hear sometimes people have a sore, painful back, and you treat the pain goes away. But sometimes it's not the pain that is the back that is the cause. Sometimes it's that their hamstrings or their legs are too tight, which causes the back pain. So the cause is somewhere else, and it results in pain in another place. But if you take away the tightness of the legs and the hamstrings, maybe it loosens up the back and they don't have back pain anymore. If you only treat the result, the problem, not the cause, then after a while it gets well, but then it's a good chance it's going to come back again. The same for the suffering. Treat the suffering, but also treat the causes. If you take away the causes, the suffering is not going to come. And these great practitioners, they really were incredibly special and are incredibly special. If you look at the story of Buddha in a previous life, he saw the suffering. He saw there was with a company of people, and he saw this tigress, and she had 5 cubs. And she was starving. She had no energy to feed the cubs, and she didn't have the nourishment to do it. And so Buddha said at that stage he wasn't yet Buddha, he was a prince, and he said to everybody, go, and I'll catch up to you later. And when they left, he actually fed him. He gave his body to the tigress so she could eat him and feed the cubs. So he really did it for her, to relieve her suffering. You hear of them as well. You hear of bodhisattvas when somebody comes to shoot them, to kill them. And they say, just before they're going to get killed, they say, just like you take my life today, I wish that in the future life I may take away all your suffering. So they really are concerned about others. They're really not concerned about themselves. And it was quite interesting. Many people say Buddha had five main students in the beginning when he attained enlightenment. And many say that those were the cubs from the tigress that he helped in a previous lifetime. So really what we do is the cause for, if you do good things, it's a cause for benefit in the future. If you treat other people well with love and kindness, it does come back. You create the habit so it's easier and easier to do it. You become even better at doing it, more practiced at it. It becomes more natural, more free. And it does come back. Maybe not from the person we expected or wanted to come back from, but it does come back. I think we could carry on talking about bodhicitta quite a while. I think we'll end there for tonight. I wish everybody the greatest happiness, the greatest joy, free of suffering. And on that, let's dedicate these merits. Firstly, in the greatest of gratitude, to Gyaltsen Nyugu Rinpoche, His Holiness Lama Achuk Rinpoche, and all our perfect teachers. That by this merit, may all attain omniscience, having defeated the enemies of wrongdoings in the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. May all be liberated from the ocean of the suffering of samsara. Sonam de tamja tsepani, tobnye nyepe tranam kache jam, keka naji balam krupai, tsibu tsoli, droa shol.
Om man tam ho, om man tam ho, nga de bi jing ji ko ale she ye